try to talk about something that's impossible to talk about, really, because it involves a place where you actually let go of your mind, and there isn't any time and space that you can relate to. But there is time, and there is space to in a way that the mind can't comprehend. And I'm going to try to explain that to you, but it really is, what I'm talking about here is really impossible to talk about, because but I'm still going to try. I got involved in this when I was in my late 20s, and I'm 74 right now, or I'll be 74 in a month. So it's been a long time since I first discovered it, and my first discovery went like this. I was off work. I'm an architect now. I wasn't then. I was a draftsman, and people laid me off and I had a month to do nothing. So I basically decided that I was going to figure out, or some way or another, escape spiritually from this body. So what I did is I took these 30 days and I basically locked myself up in my apartment and started doing real heavy duty contemplation, or some people call it meditation, but it was this creative exercises, okay? And I learned these from reading Paul Twitchell's book, Key to Secret Worlds, which was a bestseller, sold 1 million copies. The only one he ever had that sold 1 million copies. And not many years after that, Paul died from a heart attack. So he wasn't here very long. He's only here for like 56 years. But he had to move on, and he still works. I've seen him myself several times, and some people that I've talked to that have no idea who he is have reported things about him that are pretty interesting. They didn't even know who they were talking to, but I did. He generally appears in a blue suit, and he has really what I would call eyes that see through you. When he looks at you, he just looks right through you. He knows everything. But anyway, I locked myself in my apartment, and I did a lot of dreaming, a lot of creative dreaming, based on what Paul taught, and also what I learned from reading Carlos Castaneda's books, The Yaqui Way of Knowledge, where he told you about some tricks that I'm not sure he knew where they came from, but they actually do work, and they're dreaming tricks. And one of the things I did was I set an alarm egg timer on my table next to me and wrote down my dreams as they came. Every time that alarm went off, I wrote them down. And within about 5 days, I was out of that. I didn't have to do it any longer, because I could just wake up and write them down. But dreams are key to all of this. If you don't dream consciously, you're not going to get anywhere. And that's what I first learned how to do. And that was the first time I really tried to do it in an objective way. So I was doing it virtually every day then, and some of my dreams got to be rather tricky. One of them, I was on another planet, and I was sitting on a boat and the boat was going. It was like a canoe, and I was sitting on the front with my feet in the water. And I went down this creek, and over to my right were these animals that don't exist in this earth. They were sort of like elephants, but they weren't. And they were playing around, and I was watching them. That was about the extent of it, but it was big enough to get me started. And I had, the dreams kept on going. There were a lot of them. I remember every one of them. I'm not going to relate them to you because it's kind of boring. But eventually, at the end of that 30 days, I got completely out of this time and space and went into the God realm, and there it was in front of me. And I say in front of me because, like I said, there isn't any time and space there that we recognize mentally. Still, I was away from that, and I came to it, and I saw it come to me. So that there is time and space in a way, but it's not. It's where you put your consciousness. You can shift your conscious awareness any place you wish when you're above the fourth plane. Now, below the fourth plane, everything is time and space. It's all psychic, the psychic worlds, and even the subconscious is time and space. So when you know something on the subconscious, it's still within the realm of time and space. And the people like Dr. Bruce Lipman and all the others that talk about epigenetics are talking about time and space in terms of healing. So that's many years ago, and today I consciously dream like this most all the time. I almost always have some control of my dreams. I mean, occasionally I don't. Sometimes I never get excited about dreams. They just happen, and I'm an observer for the most part. But once in a while, I actually participate. It's almost impossible to describe. Anybody that's listening to this knows that it's very hard to describe your dreams, even if you're a very conscious dreamer. But when you get above the fifth or the fourth plane, dreaming becomes a whole new thing. And you can dream at very high levels. You can dream where you can shift over to different places in a heartbeat. Just as quick as you can snap your fingers. You can shift because there's no time. There's no dimensions. Well, there are dimensions. That's why we call them planes. But the fifth plane and above are incredible in terms of these things I'm talking about. I'm not saying that even the lowest psychic plane at the third level or the second level is boring, because it's not. Even though your mind gets fooled in on those levels, and you can have some really horrible experiences in the psychic planes. The astral level is what I'm talking about here. And when you get on the astral plane, you can get really messed up. As a matter of fact, it could cause you to have mental problems if you're not under some kind of a guidance. So, and that's the important thing about having an inner master to go to. If you don't have any guidance and you start doing astral travel, you can get some serious problems. And of course, the next plane gets a little bit even more tricky, because you get on the causal plane, and you can do things there that you can't do on the astral plane. So it just keeps going. But still, there's time and space, and you can on the causal plane you can observe all of the world's inventions ever. You can go to a museum there, if you want to call it that, where all inventions that ever happened, or even often will. I don't know if it's ever will happen. I'm not sure. But there's a lot of inventions, a lot of things to see, and it's really cool. It's a lot of fun, and a lot of people think every time they go onto one of these planes that that's as far as you can go, and that certainly isn't true. The astral plane is, the idea of the astral plane is to trap you there at that level, and the Kal force, as they're called in Hindu religion, is a negative force. It's actually a person, so to speak, a god, if you will, that wants you to stay on the negative side. And again, without a master to get you past that, you can get stuck there, and things can happen that you really wouldn't want to happen. So it is a little bit dangerous. I never really knew that when I did it. Still, it was really, and I thought it was really cool. But people just are not ready to go there often, and they have, as a result, psychosis, whatever, from it. And then the third plane is the mental realm, just above the causal plane, and at the top of that mental realm is the subconscious, and the subconscious plane is where Bruce Lipton and the rest of them have learned that they can heal disease. And you can do that on your own. You can heal disease on your own doing what they teach. And you can learn this method I teach with the dowsing rod, which with this rod, that is yes and this is no, and you can get really good answers on things that exist, like disease. If you have a disease in your body, you can get a good answer as to you can ask the right questions. If you can ask the right questions, you'll get the right answers for the most part. Well, I can't say that's true for everybody, but once you've done enough contemplative exercises, enough, if you've gotten out of your body enough times, you'll be able to get probably as close to 100% as you'd ever want in terms of these answers. And that's a real key thing to what my friend Bruce or Dr. Rich Price does. He gets above what Bruce Lipton and the rest of them do, and he looks at this stuff from that level, and his answers are virtually 100%, and he knows it. And one of the keys to all of this is knowing that you're doing what you're doing, because once you know, you got it, and that's nobody can give you that part. So let's see. One of the things that I've talked about in some of my previous tapes is that there's no limit to it. Well, there is a limit to these worlds, but it's unlimited as far as we're concerned. They just keep on going, and once you get to about the 9th plane, you can start doing things like I talked about on some previous tapes where I took my brother across to when he died. He came to me. I didn't go to him, and he asked me to show him across, and I did, and he's a real happy guy now. So it's nice to know. But you can do that if that's what you want to do to contribute to this love that we have to do, and that's the only reason you ever get to the 5th plane and above is because you become a loving person to the point that you want to contribute to God's work, if you will. God, some call the Sugmod in the higher worlds, is this love force that I can't even possibly describe to you. But it's a ball of light and sound that just emanates love from that center, and you become a part of it. if you put your attention on it, you become a part of it, and it's just it just sucks you right in. It's really great. You can't stay there very long if you've got a body on Earth. So you have to eventually leave, but you don't want to. You don't. The last thing in the world you want to do is to come back here if you've been there, because there's no place here that can even begin to come close to what you encounter there. So that's my story today.